Alright, what is up, my autistic friends? So, today I woke up, went to school, casual, and one of my good friends named Kilian. He, since I know him, I I've known him for only a few months now, but he's a really good friend of mine. And when I first got to know him, he was the type of a guy who would only play competitive games because he was so ADHD. It was like crazy, and now he's like playing games like more indie. And this reminded me that I can make a video on it, and I'm gonna just put the title like every gamer has these five phases and blah 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 blah. So yeah, basically, I'm just gonna tell you what the phases you had were, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, I had these phases as well. Oh my god, oh. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Like if you're drinking something, sit down and listen to me. Okay, so we're gonna name the first phase the honeymoon phase. Okay, you're like, you got a new game, like it was on sale probably, and most probably it was like a friend of yours that wouldn't shut up about it. Okay, or it was just like sitting in your library forever and you finally clicked install. One of those options. And whether the reason you boot it up and then the music hits and shit and the main menu is like glowing and then you're leaning forward, like you're locked in. You're calling it game of the year, like after 8 minutes of gameplay, and the game is probably like Valorant. You're playing League of Legends. You're playing Defiance. Like you're playing Overwatch. And you're like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. And you have no idea what you're doing. Your teammates are probably like screaming at you in their own room, like they're telling you to kill yourself. And then your ass is all of a sudden watching lore videos about League of Legends characters, or like Overwatch or Valorant, doesn't matter which one. You're like watching those, you're like, oh my god, oh my god. And then you play that game for like 2,000 hours. And then you're like, oh my god, bro, this game's like better than ever. You're like, oh my god, like, have you seen this and then this? Like, have you even watched the storylines? And have you even, like, shut up! Well, in the first phase, the honeymoon phase, you barely sleep as well, so your sleep schedule is fucked up. Phase 2 is more dangerous because it's called the grind obsession, okay? Now you already know the game now, okay? And now you have to master it, you have to reach that high rank. You have to prove yourself that you love this game so much, so you have to be one of the best when it's playing. And yes, it's repetitive as fuck, but I'm grinding for that one icon to be on top 2 or 1% in the game, which is I did it too. I don't blame anybody. I got that icon. I am proud of it. Fuck everybody. And when your friend asks if you're still having fun, you're like, hell yeah. But deep inside, you're like, my teammates are baiting me the whole time. My healer won't heal me. My tank won't tank. Blah 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 blah. Or like you're like an ADC in League of Legends. I'm like, oh my god, my trash is so trash. And you keep lying to yourself. You're like, oh my god, this game is so good. Like I love this game. I can play this game forever. But you're basically lying to yourself because like you're basically trapped at that point because you want to stop, but you can't because you need to reach that rank, and you're committed to it, so you cannot. You have put like maybe 500 to 1,000 hours at this point, or like 200 to 500 hours at this point, and you're like grinding it. And phase 3 is like the rage quit and burnout. Like after 500 to 1,000 hours, you're like starting to like get so mad at the game. You're like, fuck this shit. Alright? And then it doesn't matter, maybe it's a single player game as well. I'm mostly talking about competitive because that's relatable to me. Or like maybe it's just a boss fight or a mission in the game or a stupid AI, doesn't matter what. You're like so frustrated. The teammates you get, the mission you get, the side quests, all that thing you have to grind, or I don't know what. Like you're like queuing up the match, you're winning, and then you're losing again. And then when you win one game, you gain 16 RR, and when you lose, you're losing 20 RR. So you're basically in like ranked hell, right? And then you like kinda like realize that you're like, this game's like actually bad. Like they didn't even balance the characters. Like who designed this? Like who's getting paid to do this? Like because like at that point you played the game so much, you see it clearly if there is a balance in the game, or if something is just so unbalanced that it's unfair when somebody picks that character, or some kind of maps where you're defending something instead of attacking, and defending is just way easier than attacking. Like you start to realize those stuff after a certain amount of hour in the game, and then after that point you're like, this game is actually fucked up. Like this game is bad because you're so like you have the understanding of the game so much that you're like, yeah bro, this game is just bad. And then you just install the game, but right after you install for a few weeks or like the week, you have like nothing to do. It doesn't matter what you try. Like you try out new game, but they're like not the same because you don't have the commitment or the connection or the knowledge that you had with the first game you were playing. So you just basically reinstall the game again. This is still the rage bait and burnout phase, by the way. And after that, you tell yourself you're done, and then you're never gonna install it back again because you already deinstalled after playing once. And just like that, you're out. But like, don't worry, because phase 4 is coming now, and then it's called the rebound game or Nebo obsession. This mostly happens if you play a competitive game, either switch to a competitive another game that is as addictive as this one, which makes you wanna connect to it, or it's just like a smaller indie game or a story game where you're like, oh damn, I am really deeply into this and I wanna play it and I wanna finish it. Okay? And all of a sudden, when you first start playing it, after 2-3 hours, you're so deep into it again, you start watching YouTube tutorials about the story, or if the game has a show. For example, Cyberpunk had a show and I watched it, and then once you watch the show, like you're so deep into it and you play the game for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then you call people, you're talking with your friends about it, like the whole time you're saying like Cyberpunk is the best anime, it's the best show, it's the best game out there, like you have to try it out. And the moment that clicks, you stop even thinking about the competitive game that you were so locked in a few months ago and couldn't even live without playing a few days. All of a sudden you're just so much into the story game, it means so much to you, and it actually heals you because you don't have to grind anything in the game. You're just gonna play, maybe you finish it first time and it's gonna hit you like a truck, and then you're gonna play it once more or like twice because you love the game so much. But that basically means you're healing because you're not grinding because you need the icon of the rank. You're basically just playing because you're having fun instead of being burnt out while you were playing ranked. Basically. And then phase 5, the game library existential crisis. I am in the phase 5, okay? So welcome to the final phase if you're with me. You played so many games after having that online competitive game phase of your life and went into the story mode and indie games section, and then you have come out of that as well, and now you're in the phase 5 where your game library is like huge. You have like Xbox Game Pass, your Steam library is like overflowing with games, and you basically don't know what to do. All right, at this point you have a few stuff to do. You scroll your Steam library 10 times, maybe 20 times, doesn't matter, every single time when you sit on your PC and you get bored and nothing feels right because you actually want to play something but you don't know what because you already played the games that were looking really interesting to you. It doesn't matter if it's an indie game or a story game or I don't know what, doesn't matter, or something cozy, doesn't matter. And you start trying out new stuff, but none of them hits you the way the games you have played so far, because the games you have played so far were basically the best games that gaming had to offer, because when you googled or searched up the games after coming out of that ranked game phase, those were the games, and now you're just basically sitting and waiting for a game that will connect the other ones, like let's say Ghost of Tsushima, and now you're waiting for Ghost of Yotei. Would be a crazy good example, for example. And after all that, you're basically in a loop where you just open your library and look through the games, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I miss when games used to be fun, or like I just want something cozy, or games today don't hit like they used to. They do hit like they used to, but you played so much of the good stuff that when you play something mid or upper mid, it still feels like that the game isn't worthy of the playtime that you're giving it, because of the standard that you got used to is so high. For example, if you start after your competitive phase, if you play games like The Witcher and Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, those stuff, like I'm talking about like top tier stuff, or Stardew Valley if you're talking like more indie. Until then, you played so big that when you played the mid games, you were like, this is like the shittiest game I ever played, but you probably didn't even play the shit games. So that's why the feeling is there. And suddenly you just realize this is a cycle and you're stuck, and we all are. And then there's a bonus round, and that is basically not leaving this cycle, because you just wait until the crazy good games release again and you play those, and then you scroll through, when once they're done again, you scroll through your Steam library again. And you know, I'm like kinda out of breath because I actually wanted to talk about this, I guess, but it's kind of beautiful to have this repetitive progress, in my opinion, because it's a hobby. To some maybe it's wasting time, but in my opinion, I have a personal relationship with my computer and the games that I have here. For example, when I go to my Steam library and go to my favorite games, when I see Dark Souls 3 here, and when I see Helldivers 2, and I remember, for example, when I see Helldivers 2, those moments where I was screaming and throwing nukes at my friends, or when I see Hyper Light Drifter, I remember the first time the game, but like the feelings that the game gave me. So until something new releases that is this good, you're just gonna have this loop, and I know it's boring to wait, but that is just the way it is. So you're not alone if you feel that way. I'm 100% with you. So thanks for watching this painfully accurate look at the mind of every gamer, which was totally 100% my opinion. But if it's my opinion, it's basically it has to be everybody. So if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing, please, because I'm actually trying to put content out there every day, if not every day, every 2 days. Leave a comment about which phase you're in right now, because shit, like, it doesn't really interest me, but I'm gonna read them anyways, because, you know. And share this with that one friend who's a dumbass and is still grinding games. And if you're in the phase where you're buying the really good games right now, let me know which one is your favorite. And that's it. So see you guys in the next one. Peace.